What's going on, everyone? When it comes to Kevin Durant, the big question is where will he end up? Obviously, he requested a trade from the Nets, and the Nets want to get the best package available. A team like the Phoenix Suns makes a ton of sense. The Toronto Raptors could throw a nice package together. The Miami Heat have hopes, but if I'm being honest, personally, I just think that's a pipe dream. I'm sure many others feel otherwise. But another young team that is rumored to be in the mix for Kevin Durant that would actually make a lot of sense and could put together a nice package for KD would be the Grizzlies. Now, the Grizzlies exceeded all expectations. They were incredible. They were a really solid team and a really tough out, and in many cases, a real threat in the Western Conference. And they are really stacked. And so any trade centered around Kevin Durant is likely going to require Dillon Brooks, Jackson, and then you probably got to give up a young guy like Zaire Williams, a couple draft picks, things like that, maybe some pick swaps. And don't get me wrong, the Jackson trade would hurt. Dillon Brooks, I'm not high on him. I think he gets in his head too much. He's too inconsistent. He's a solid player, don't get me wrong, but he's just very inconsistent for Memphis. And I feel like at times he does more harm than good. So I don't think it's any real loss to lose Brooks. If you're Memphis, Zaire Williams, again, young guy, development project. I don't think you're having any real major loss there for them. I think that Jackson, that is the real loss. I think that is the one that would really hurt, but you're upgrading him for Kevin Durant. I mean, think about it. Kevin Durant is arguably the best player on the planet still, and you have him locked up for 4 years. And as great as Jackson is, injury history, things like that, Memphis was still really good without him. And so the idea is you go and you get Kevin Durant. Yeah, you're giving up these young pieces. It might hurt, but you're expediting your rebuild, essentially. You are a team that felt you were already right there competing with the greats and thought, you know what, we were just, a couple wins away, a couple moments away from actually being in the NBA Finals. At least that's how I believe the Grizzlies look at it, especially Ja Morant. I mean, the incredible just player that he is. If he didn't get hurt, who knows where they would have been. Now, I don't think that they would have won the series, but I do think that they would have been a lot more competitive. And so if you compare Kevin Durant and Ja Morant, you do that 10 times out of 10 times. I mean, you're talking about quite the mismatch. You're talking about quite the inside-out game. Imagine Ja just running through the paint, collapsing the defenses and kicking out to a wide-open Kevin Durant. I mean, you'd have arguably the best inside-out duo in the league. I mean, seriously, they would be incredible together. And you still have a lot of really good pieces and a lot of really good talent on the Memphis Grizzlies. You're still in a really good position. And I think you're much better than you were last year. And that says a lot. And Kevin Durant is just that guy. He's that guy. If he goes to your team, he's going to elevate that team tremendously. And you have a guy that is an absolute killer in Ja Morant, which is huge. Because Kevin Durant, the silent assassin in many ways, he's kind of to himself. He just wants to show up and play basketball. You need that compliment, that guy that's just driven, that guy that can lead the charge, that guy that can be the leader in many ways. And I think Ja is that guy. But beyond that, you still keep Bane, who was a lights out shooter at times and just played a tremendous defense. You have a great backcourt. And then you're slotting in Kevin Durant with that. I mean, that's a monstrous team here. Seriously. You have the shooting threats. You have the inside-out games. You have all of the offensive schemes you can run. You have the coaching. You have the organization. You have everything that you need from a standpoint. The real question would be, would Kevin Durant want to go to the Grizzlies? Which I don't think would be a bad destination for him at all. But, I mean, Kevin Durant is kind of a bit of an oddball in many ways, but he is a guy that can fit in. He's not a guy that's very flashy. He's not a guy that needs a big market, stuff like that. He's a guy that just wants to show up, play basketball, mind his business, and just be done. He's very sensitive in many ways. And I think going to the Grizzlies, where he'd be absolutely loved, would be competing for championships, would have young talent around him. I mean, beyond Bane and Ja Morant, I mean, you still have Tyus Jones, who they re-signed. You still have guys like Tillman. You have lots of talent around you that you would be competitive immediately. And in the Western Conference, there were no real world beaters, right? Nobody looked that incredible and that unbeatable. Even the Warriors. Yes, they won the NBA Finals, but they didn't look unbeatable. You weren't talking about the Warriors with Kevin Durant. So I think Kevin Durant going to the Grizzlies and having that rivalry with the Golden State Warriors, I think would just be tremendous. Not just that, it would be kind of funny because think of all the OKC Grizzlies rivalry, that those series were incredible and grindy and just those series. If you're old enough to remember those series, I know you'll back me up. Let me know in the comment section. They were absolutely great series. That just grit and grind Grizzlies team with Zach Randolph and Marc Gasol and Allen and all of them. I mean, that team was something else. But it would be kind of funny. But I just think the Grizzlies still have the talent. They still have the youth. They still have everything around Kevin Durant for this team to be successful. And I just think Kevin Durant would elevate them to another level. I think that they would immediately become legitimate contenders and arguably the team to come out the West, right? I mean, who would be better than them? I mean, yeah, you can make an argument maybe the Warriors, make an argument maybe the Suns, but I don't know. I think Kevin Durant would be a huge mismatch for both of those teams. Ja is a huge mismatch for both of those teams. Bane is a knockdown shooter and is only going to improve. They're still young. You still, like I said, have a bunch of young talent around them. You have Steven Adams, who wouldn't be as much of a liability if you have Kevin Durant, right? You could put him down there to just rebound and get putbacks and stuff, which he is one of the best in the league at. The problem was they didn't have this incredible amount of three-point shooting. They shot a lot of threes, but they didn't have a ton of lights-out shooters other than a couple guys. But Kevin Durant, he's a guy that can knock down the outside shot. He can play multiple positions. You got multiple guys that can play multiple positions. You got your basically point guard through small forward locked in easily. I just think that if you can make this happen, I think you make it happen. I think you do it. I think, whatever picks you have to give up, you don't really care about those anyway. You're getting the high picks either way. So why does it matter? Just go get the Kevin Durant. Give up the pieces. I don't think you're losing anything too heavy in a trade for Kevin Durant outside of Jackson. I mean, like I said, I understand, and I know some people are going to be in the comments like, no way you trade Jackson and stuff. I get it, but you're talking about Kevin Durant, and there are a lot of question marks with Jackson, a lot. And so I think you make the move and you deal with it. Worst case scenario, Kevin Durant in 4 years, he leaves, you have his money on the books or off the books, and you still have Ja and you still have Bane to build around. They're young enough to where even in 4 years, if it doesn't work out, one, you could always trade Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's still going to get you a good return. Or you could just ride it out, and if it doesn't work, well, good. Now you still have the young pieces, and you still have your core to build around to continue to be that contender. I just think the Grizzlies would be absolutely terrifying with Kevin Durant on the team. I just think that duo of Ja and KD, I just think would be one of the best duos in the league, which is saying a lot, and a lot of praise to Ja. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Could you see Kevin Durant in a Memphis Grizzly uniform? Do you think that that's enough to even get Kevin Durant? Like I said, I think that is a solid package. They're getting a young talent. They're getting guys that are good enough to keep you competitive, to add to Ben Simmons. You're going to get some draft picks. You're going to get some stuff. I just think that it's not much different than some of the other packages you could get. Is Mikal Bridges, Ayton, and a couple draft picks better? I don't know. I think that that's just perception. I think Jackson is a guy that is at least comparable to those guys. And then from the Raptors trade, the Raptors, let's say they give Siakam, let's say Siakam, Gary Trent, and some draft picks. Maybe you can argue that's better. But I don't know. Kevin Durant, the Memphis Grizzlies are a real threat to the NBA. I really wouldn't be shocked at all if you go win an NBA championship. Not just that, but you're getting a guy that's been there, has been in the big moments, has hit the big shots, has done all the things necessary to win championships. And that's something that the Grizzlies, I feel, would benefit a lot from, to have a guy with that experience, because we saw a lot of the lack of experience affect the Memphis Grizzlies along the way. And then they ran another team that just had too much experience and they weren't able to compete. And I think Kevin Durant would give them that push over the top, would give them that competitive edge, and would make them, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best team in the Western Conference. That team is pretty ridiculous. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.